Here we go again. Suffering sassafras. Have we really made it all the way to day 21? I can't believe it. Oh my goodness. Here we go again. Welcome. Yes, we are now live across the World Wide Web of the Internet, otherwise known as the web. Welcome to day 21 of 31 days of learning English in October 2019. Wow, here we go. I can't believe it. Here we are again. And it has been a very dramatic morning here because I've just had a little bit of an accident. Well, not myself personally, but I decided to do some washing in the washing machine. And for some reason, all of the water has come out from the washing machine and it is gone all over the floor. So please don't tell Steve. Don't tell Steve that the washing machine just did something very strange. So I did have to clear up quite a lot of water just a few moments ago. But don't tell Steve, please. Whatever you do, don't tell Steve because I will get it in the neck. I really will. Steve will moan and complain for the rest of the week. And you know what that can be like sometimes. So if you get it in the neck, it means you are scolded, or maybe the person you are talking about complains or they nag. I love that word, nag. So if you keep complaining, maybe to your partner or your husband or wife, we can say that you nag them. Also, the word nag is another word for horse as well. So here we go. Yes, it is the start of a brand new week. It's Monday. Yes, I know many of you are watching rugby. There are rugby matches taking place. There are football matches taking place. There's all sorts of politics taking place here in the UK today. All around the world, politics seems to be in a state of chaos. Have you noticed? All of the countries, almost all of them, not just one or two, but I think the whole planet at the moment is in a state of chaos. So today it is episode 1983 of this. This seems to have been going on forever. Please, someone make this stop. So today we have yet another meeting in the House of Commons, and once again all of the members of Parliament will get together and they will try to come up with a decision on whether or not we are actually going to leave the European Union. So it's all happening again today. Between you and me, I am getting a little bit sick and tired. I've had enough of it, to be honest. So I think today what they are going to be voting on today is one of these. Would you like to see it? So I think this is what they are going to vote on today. One of these. Can you see it? So this is what all of the members of Parliament and the government here in the UK are going to vote on. They are going to vote on an extension. That's what this is, you see. Can you see what I did there? Extension. So this is an extension. And today, when we are talking about that certain topic that I'm not going to mention because I don't want to. I really don't. I'm not going to mention this. I'm not going to say the word. However, it is all going on today. Hello to the live chat. Oh, hello, live chat. Nice to see you here as well. It is Monday, and my glasses are dirty. Do you ever find that? If you wear glasses, do you find sometimes if you clean your glasses, if you use something to clean your glasses, sometimes afterwards your glasses are actually more dirty than they were before you cleaned them? And I'm having a problem today with my glasses. They seem to be very dirty for some reason. I don't know why. Anyway, I will continue. I will try my best to carry on. And we have the live chat. Oh, hello to Grace Chin. Grace, well done. I am saying Grace. In fact, I'm saying congratulations to Grace because you are first on today's live chat. Do you like my dimples? I have had these dimples since I was a baby, although they used to be on my bottom. Hello to the live chatters. Hello, Nasir. You are here as well on Monday. It's the start of a new week. And this is now day 21. So we have just another 10 days of all this. And for those who are wondering, yes, I am here every day during October. From Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. UK time, Saturday, 12 p.m, just after midday, and on Sunday, 2 p.m. as well. I suppose the big question must be now, what will happen after October finishes? What will happen on the 1st of November? I wonder. And the reason why I'm doing this special season of live streams is because on the 31st of October, besides being this, it is also my 13th anniversary on YouTube. Yes, it is true. I have been doing this for 13 years. And I have managed to hold on to my sanity. Just about. Hello to Guadeloupe. Hello also to Zoran. By the way, Nasir asks, what do you do when you get free time? I don't know. I can't remember what it feels like. What does it feel like to have free time? Because at the moment I have no free time. I've literally spent the last 21 days doing this and nothing else. So at the moment I have no free time. I suppose on November the 1st I might just stay in bed all day. That sounds like a good idea. Hello Ibrahim. Hello Duck. Hello Pachu. Hello Mika and Belarusia, two of our moderators. Zoran is here. Louis. Hello, Louis. Thank you very much. Luis Mendez is also here. Nice to see you back. I hope you had a good day yesterday, whatever it was you were doing. Also, Neo is here. Ramzanura is here. Hello there. Ooh, sorry. My leg is itching. Excuse me. Ooh, that's better. Fuad is here. Palmera is here. Eric. Hello, Eric. Hello, Hassan. Ziba. Wow, so many people are here already on the live stream. Thank you also to Salad. Thank you, Irfan. Also, Christina. The weather in the north of my country is very bad. A harsh storm happened and there is lots of lightning and frightening sounds. I must admit, I always feel a little bit afraid, a little scared during a lightning storm. Because you do hear there are stories of people who get struck by lightning. Yes. And from what I've heard, it's not much fun. Hello Morella. Hello Hayu. Hello Helen. Hello Farouk. Wow, so many people here on the live chat. By the way, thank you to those who pointed out my mistake yesterday. Eton Rifles was by The Jam. Thank you very much. We were talking all about the 1980s yesterday. And I must admit, when we look back over the past, quite often we will look with rose-tinted glasses. Now, I love this expression. So if we look at something with rose-tinted glasses, it means we look at the past or we look at a certain event favourably. Maybe sometimes we will take away all the bad things. We will remove the bad things from our memory and we will only remember the good things. And quite often we will look back at our life with rose-tinted glasses. This means you look back favourably or you remove all the bad things. Some people use this expression to talk about the world we live in, especially today, I suppose, because some people believe that the world is always great, everything is fine, all the human beings on the planet are honest and good. They look through rose-tinted glasses. So some people believe that you can be too optimistic, or maybe you look on the bright side too much. Maybe you only see the good things and not the bad. So you look through rose-tinted glasses because everything looks warm. Everything has a lovely rosy glow. I love that expression, and I think for some people it might be very appropriate for this moment of time. Today we are talking about something that I have talked about recently, but today I'm going to look at the subject of knowledge. Things we know, things we have stored up here. But of course, like most subjects, knowledge is not a simple thing. there are many things connected to this particular type of thing. So knowledge, we will be looking at that a little bit later on. Also, we will be going back in time to this day, this actual day in 2013. Zeba is here. Hello, Zeba. The weather is depressing in London. Let's have a look outside, shall we? Now here, the weather isn't too bad. It's a little gloomy at the moment, but earlier the sun was trying to break through. And there you can see now a live view from the window. So that is actually looking out of my window right now. You can see there are some cows in the distance walking across. And yes, it's looking rather nice, even though it is a little bit cloudy and the sun is trying to break through. And a little nearer, oh, look at that. Yes, you can see the live view. I think there is something in the way of my camera. Wait there a moment. I don't like that. There is something in the way of my camera. My camera is being blocked. Excuse me. Just to prove that this is live, watch this. You see, a lot of people say, your camera is not live. It is. It's definitely live. As you can see, I was moving the camera around. Patrick says, I hate politics. I think a lot of people do hate politics. I think it's true. However, during my life, I can't remember a period of time where people were so involved in politics, or they were talking about the subject of politics so much. So I think at the moment, politics is very much in the forefront of what people are talking about. It is definitely a topic of conversation. It is. Guadeloupe, it's Monday and it's almost time to go to work. I'm listening to the live stream and in a few minutes I will have to go. That's okay, Guadeloupe, because you can watch the live streams again. In fact, underneath this video there is a playlist, so don't forget. If you miss any of my live streams, you can watch them again. So there is a playlist under this video. Don't forget that. And of course, if you want to follow, you can also have live captions as well. So if you click this button on your keyboard, or of course you can go to the settings in the corner if you are watching on a smartphone or a mobile device, you can have captions live. Wow, I really do love technology so much. Guadeloupe, I am sorry for Mr. Duncan's neck. Well, my neck is okay. My neck is actually all right. But sometimes things can be a pain in the neck. Or, of course, you can get something in the neck, which means you get into trouble. Or maybe someone complains to you. Hello to Pachu. What qualities do you think a trainer or teacher needs to have? I suppose the most important one is patience. Really. I think two of the things you really need if you want to be a teacher, you have to have patience. And I suppose you also have to have a little bit of an outgoing personality. So maybe you have to have a sort of personality which you can project. Because you have to keep the class interesting, you have to keep your students happy and engaged. So I suppose, yes, you must be a little outward when you are teaching, but I think patience is definitely something you need, especially if some of your students are misbehaving. Hello to YL. Hello, Mr. Duncan. After a long time, I have been missing you. Oh, okay then. Well, I'm glad to see you back here today. Hello also to Eric. In England, people are getting sick with mental problems and psychological problems because of this. I'm not saying it. I'm not saying this word ever again. Trust me. Christina, the week has started badly because of the bad weather. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I hope it brightens up later. Hello to TS. Oh, hello, TS. It's nice to see you here. After October, will you go to year number 14 on YouTube? Well, we are a long way from my 14th anniversary. We have to wait for a whole year before that happens. However, we are celebrating my 13th anniversary this month, and that is the reason why I am with you every day during this month. Hello also to Zeba. Hello to Irene, also Francesco and Somaya. Hello, Mr. Duncan from Dubai. Hello, Somaya. Nice to see you back here again. Ooh, very nice. So yesterday we were talking about the past. We often like to think about the past. We like to reminisce. I love this word, reminisce. So if you reminisce, you look back, you recall, you recollect. So you remember the past, and that's what we were doing yesterday. I had a lovely comment from someone who said, Mr. Duncan, we can't understand why you thought you were so awkward as a teenager. Well, I suppose looking back, I realised that I suppose I needn't have been so awkward or uncomfortable. However, when you are in that situation, so when you are 14 or 15 years old, 16 years old, sometimes you might not have the confidence that you have when you are an adult. So I think that is my way of looking at it. When I was young, I was quite insecure. I was quite introverted. I was quite shy. You might not believe that now. And I really did suffer in school. So during my school years, I was really afraid of everything. I was afraid to speak up in class. Even if I knew the answer to something, I would often stay silent. So that's how badly I suffered. That's how bad things were for me during my early years at school and my teenage years as well. I felt very uncomfortable. I felt very awkward. And I suppose the word anxious would be a suitable word to express the way I felt. Ahmed, hello Mr. Duncan, I live in Iraq. I want to improve my language. How do I do that? There are many ways. First of all, you have to get used to listening. So listen to English, read as much English, and eventually speak English. The hardest part for most people is actually speaking English. Some British people, especially older people, steady, view their future without the European Union through rose-tinted glasses. Yes, I suppose so. Some people have a very rosy view of the future if we, or when we leave Europe, or if we leave Europe. Who knows? Hello, Ifran. Hello also to Louis. Are the sheep here? Well, they are here at the back of the house, but they are not here in the studio. So no sheep today. By the way, thank you very much for your lovely messages from those who have said how much they enjoy my Wednesday kitchen live streams. And yes, we will be in the kitchen once more on Wednesday. But the big question is, what will we be doing? Ooh. Hello, Mr. Duncan. I imagine that you work very hard every day for your lessons. Yes, it has been a rather busy month, to say the least. Rather busy. It's time now to go back in time to this day, this actual day, the 21st of October. It was Monday, and it was 6 years ago today. Let's have a look at it right now, shall we? As we go back in time. Yes, it's here again. That mean old Monday has come knocking at the door. Still, it's not all that bad. Welcome to day 21 of 31 days of Dunktober. I hope your weekend was great and you are all refreshed and raring to go for another week of life's ups and downs. Hopefully with more ups than downs. Do you ever get the wrong end of the stick? This is a great phrase that means to misunderstand someone or something. You take the meaning of a sentence or action the wrong way. The meaning is one thing and your interpretation of it is something else. You read something wrongly. Your version of the message is incorrect. You have misunderstood it. You have misinterpreted it. The meaning of the sentence was lost in translation. You got the wrong end of the stick. Communication is a paradox. Words and actions can be strong and subtle. They can be ambiguous and clear. One word can be read in many ways. The key to understanding what a person is saying depends on the context in which the words are used. A sentence conveys this context. Even then, a misunderstanding can occur. A happy sentence can be used in a negative way, but this use only really works when spoken. Look at this sentence. What is it saying? Is this a positive or negative sentence? Now listen to it being spoken. Oh, that's great. The inflection of the voice is not what the written sentence appears to convey. It is easy to misunderstand someone. Misunderstandings come in all forms, from a casual, off-the-cuff comment to an overheard whisper or rumour. Even an innocent joke can lead to misunderstandings and misinterpretation. I love jokes. Do you? Of course, not all jokes are funny. Some people find certain things funny, while others do not. We all have our own sense of humour. I love watching comedy movies and funny TV shows. At the moment, I like watching Family Guy and American Dad. In the past, I enjoyed watching South Park and The Simpsons. These are all animated shows. They are cartoons. The humour in all of these shows is very fast and sometimes violent and rude, but I still find them funny. Sometimes a shocking thing can be funny. For example, in Family Guy, the characters often end up fighting with each other. They punch and hit each other very violently. Yet the scenes are funny. The fact that this is a cartoon removes the realism from the action. In one particular episode, one of the main characters gets into a very long and amazingly violent fight with a giant chicken. As a child, I used to watch Tom and Jerry cartoons, and they too were quite violent. Yet never did I get the urge to chase anyone around with a giant hammer or stick dynamite under their eyelids, as was often shown in those cartoons. Just like all humour, some will get the joke while others will not. It would appear that humour, just like any other taste, is entirely subjective. Did you see that? Did you see that? That was me 6 years ago. Yes, that's what I looked like 6 years ago. That last part, by the way, was filmed in Mr. Steve's mother's back garden. I remember it well. We were visiting Steve's mum, but also I had to do some filming for the next day, for the next day's Dunktober Day, and I was in Mr. Steve's mother's back garden. And to be honest with you, Mr. Steve's mum thinks it's a little bit weird doing this, standing in front of a camera, talking to yourself. So that's what was happening 6 years ago today. What about today, though? What are we doing today? Hello, Anna. Would you ever imagine in your youth that you will be teaching to so many people? No. Very little that has happened in my life is anything that I would have ever imagined. So from the age of 24, my life has been really bizarre and unusual as far as I'm concerned, because all the things that have happened, all the things that have occurred in my life have been a very big surprise. I did learn to keep my expectations low, and then everything in life will be a big surprise. That's what I did anyway. Hello, Louis. I should have said, are the sheep there more than here? Yes, the sheep are outside, but they are not here, and we won't be seeing them today, unfortunately. We won't be taking a look at the sheep. Maybe tomorrow, okay? So when a person looks at things through rose-tinted glasses, we might say that they are an idealist. An idealist is a person who tries to look on the bright side, the positive side. They are an idealist. Of course, this is not necessarily a negative thing. I think, in fact, sometimes being an idealist is actually a good thing. You look on the bright side. You look at the positive side. You might even be described as a pragmatist. So a pragmatist is a person who tends to be realistic, or maybe they try to weigh up the pros and the cons. So the good things and the bad things. So maybe if you do something, there will be a positive outcome, or perhaps a negative one. So a pragmatist is often very good at looking at the good things and the bad things in a level way. Pragmatic. To be practical and pragmatic. You are a pragmatist. I suppose also we can talk about the practicality of things as well. So the practicality is how something will be achieved or done. So when we talk about the practicality, it means how something will be carried out or done. So in your mind, you have to try and work out how you will do something. The practicality of something. Is it possible to do it? Maybe it is impossible. You have to work out the practicality of the thing you want to do. And I have dropped all of my paper on the floor. Isn't that good? Excuse me. Well, that was embarrassing. Also, you might be down to earth. A person who is down to earth might be realistic. They are a person who is level-headed. So they are down to earth. They can be very pragmatic. They might be a realist. They are realistic. And also maybe this word, the one I just used, a realist, a person who deals in facts or things that are real or things that can be seen or achieved without too much difficulty. A realist, they see things as they are, maybe. So this might be the opposite of looking through rose-tinted glasses. So this is actually the opposite. So a realist tends to look at things as they are. how easy something will be or how difficult it will be. You are a realist. You can see things as they are, or you try to see things as they are. So you never look at things through rose-tinted glasses. So we are talking all about knowledge and, I suppose, the way in which knowledge can affect your life. And we are looking at lots of different words today. Yes, a pragmatist is very practical. They are a person who understands how something should be done. You are pragmatic. Raphael says, congratulations for your initiative to teach English. You are welcome. By the way, today is a very special day. It is the 21st of October. A very special date if you are a fan of the movies. Doot, doot, deet, deet. That's the power of love. October the 21st is also the date that Marty McFly went when he went into the future. So October the 21st, 2015. So not this year, unfortunately. It's a little bit late now. So 2015, 16, 17, 18, 19. 4 years, you see. 4 years ago, Marty McFly was walking around the streets trying to work out what the heck was going on. But still, we have no hoverboards. We still have no hoverboards. Talking of movies, I think it is around, is it 69 days before the new Star Wars film comes out? Are you excited? Me neither. Hello to Raphael. Hello to Zeba. I have goals for my future. Well, this is something I always encourage people to have. Don't make the same mistake as me, because I didn't have many goals when I was younger, because I was too afraid. I was too nervous about pursuing the things I wanted to do. So yes, try to build your goals. Try to have some enthusiasm for the things you want to do in your life. There is an election taking place next Sunday, and all of the politicians are talking on television. So Belarusia in Argentina is at the moment preparing for a general election, a big election taking place in Argentina next weekend on Sunday. Very unusual to have an election on Sunday. Now, normally here in the UK, we always have our elections on Thursday. So traditionally, any election that takes place here in the UK is always held on Thursday. A lot of people saying, Back to the Future. Yes, Marty McFly went into the future. But of course now, it's the past. A little bit confusing maybe. So, how do we talk about this particular subject? What do we say about this? Knowledge. Well, first of all, the clue is in the word itself, because in the word knowledge, you will notice the word know. So there is a clue. So the things you have learned, the things you know that have been stored, and the things you understand about certain topics or subjects. Knowledge, the things you know. So knowledge really can cover anything. It can cover all sorts of things, all sorts of subjects, all sorts of interests, and everything really. So knowledge can be about anything you know. And in that respect, we often say general knowledge. So when we say general knowledge, we mean the things that you know generally, or the things that are maybe random in your head. The knowledge that you have up here, your general knowledge. So knowledge, the things you know, the things you have learned, the things you have stored. We can also say ability. So I suppose your knowledge also defines the things you are able to do. So knowledge. Your knowledge is your ability. So your ability to remember things, your ability to know things, your ability to recall information. So quite often ability is connected to knowledge. It really is. So your knowledge is often classed as your ability, the way you are able to do things. And quite often, to do things, you need knowledge, especially if it is a specialist field, a certain area, something that you have to do. Agility. Now that's interesting. So we have the word ability and agility. So quite often ability is a general term for the things you can do. However, when we talk about agility, it means how much energy you put into the things you do. So your ability, are you able to do it? How well do you do it? Do you do it fast? Do you do it quickly? Do you do it with a lot of energy? Agility, ability. You are able. You are agile. Of course, when we talk about knowledge, we also talk about skill. So skill tends to be very specific, very precise. So when we talk about skill, we are talking about the thing you are able to do. You have a particular ability. You have a particular skill. So maybe my skill is teaching English. I also have other skills as well, such as filming, camera angle use, so I can operate a camera. I know how to point a camera, how to film with a camera. I also know how to edit as well. So editing, I suppose that is one of my skills. I also edit music sometimes when the music is too long for a sequence that I am editing. I also have to edit the music so it will fit into the sequence. I also have script writing skill, so I can write scripts as well. So quite often, a person will have more than one skill. So I have a few skills that I'm able to do. I can also paint and decorate. So in this house, I have done all of the work, painting and decorating the house to make it look lovely. So I have a few skills that I've learned over the years. That is one of the good things about getting older, of course. You can learn lots of new skills. So a skilled person, a person who is able to do something, they don't just have the practical use, they also have the theoretical use. So it is something you can do easily. You have knowledge of a particular thing. So that can be theoretical or in your head, or practical, something you can actually do. I don't know what's happening today. I keep dropping my paper. No, what? This is very annoying. This is very annoying. All of my paper keeps falling on the floor. You also have know-how. Oh, I like this. So when we talk about know-how, we mean the thing you know about. So you know how to do it. I think I've spelt that right. I've actually spelt no wrong. Can you believe that? I don't know how I did that. Ignore that. So your know-how is the thing that you know. K-N-O-W. You know something. So ignore that part. Okay, ignore that part. That's what happens when you rush, by the way, when you are rushing. So if you have know-how, it means you know how to do something. You literally know how to do it. I suppose another word we can use is perception. Your perception, the way you see something and also the way you absorb the thing that you are seeing or looking at or reading. Thank you, Nasir. Yes, there was a spelling mistake. That is my fault because I was doing it too quickly this morning. Perception. I hope I spelt this right. Yeah? Okay then, thank you. Your perception is how you view something or how you absorb the world around you. So how you perceive things, how things go into your brain. Quite often through the things you see. But of course, it can also be the general view of things around you as well. So when we say perception, it can also be the way you absorb information and the way you see things around you, your own personal perception. When it comes to learning, quite often, perception is quite important. Your ability will quite often relate to technique. So when we talk about technique, we mean the way you do something. So your own way of doing something, or of course the way you should do something. So maybe if you have some instructions, or maybe a certain thing has to be done in a particular way. It has to be done in a certain technique or with a certain technique. So there we go, technique. I like that word actually. It looks rather nice on the screen. So you can have your practical technique, the way of doing something. So if you do something with your hands, if you create something, maybe you carry out a certain task, you have a particular technique. For example, my teaching technique. Some people say it is very unusual and strange. Your awareness. So to be aware or to have awareness is to actually realize what is going on around you. Again, this is another good skill when it comes to learning things, to be aware. And quite often people go through their lives without awareness. Quite often people will walk past the beautiful landscape without even looking twice. So sometimes awareness can help you to learn not just the big things, but also the small things as well. Awareness. It is all about opening your mind and also opening your eyes and looking around you to have awareness. And if you want to study well, if you want to learn things quickly, attentiveness. You must concentrate. So when we talk about attentiveness, it means you concentrate on what is happening around you. You concentrate. You have attentiveness. I love that word. Wow, so many letters. Look at all those letters. That is a very long word. So when you attend a class, you are there. But of course, you also need attentiveness. You have to be attentive, which means you concentrate on the thing that is being said or the subject that is being taught. Hello to Christina. What about wisdom, Mr. Duncan? Wisdom. Well, I suppose wisdom is something that you gather over time. So that is just my perception. Of course, the meaning of wisdom can also mean just things you remember or you know. So you are a wise person. You have a lot of knowledge about different things. But also we often think of wisdom as being something we gather as we go through life. So the older you are, quite often we will assume that you are more wise. You have more wisdom than you did when you were young. Awareness of the environmental problems. Thank you, Patchu. Yes, I suppose so. Yes, so to be aware of things can also be understanding or accepting a certain situation, or maybe understanding something that is happening around you. Yes, thank you very much. To concentrate on something. Some people are very terrible. They are very bad at concentrating. I know that I was pretty bad at concentrating when I was at school. When I was at school, I was not very good at concentrating. I remember quite often in my maths class, Mr. West, I still remember his name, Mr. West was my maths teacher, and quite often he would shout at me because I was looking out the window. So quite often I would stare out the window of the classroom and I would watch the birds, I would look at the things around me. I was always fascinated by what happened outside the classroom. And quite often I was scolded by the teacher. But it was maths. I hated maths. I still hate maths, to be honest. So maybe my lack of concentration was justified. Maybe it was. Hello, Patchu again. Hello, Neo. Neo says global warming is a hoax. Oh, Neo. That's what you think. Who knows? Mr. Duncan is a wise man. I'm not sure if I'm wise. I still make mistakes, like yesterday. I thought that Eton Rifles was by the Clash, but in fact it was by the Jam. Isn't it strange what happened to Paul Weller from the Jam? He went off into all sorts of different styles of music. I'm just thinking about this now, because Paul Weller, during the late 70s and early 80s, he was very much into the hard sort of, maybe the guitars and the anger. But later he became very mellow with his musical style when he formed the Style Council. It's just a little thought there. Neo says maths is fun and incredible. Okay then. Your teaching technique is original and very useful. Thank you very much. So let's have a look at some words now to do with having knowledge. If a person has a lot of knowledge, if a person is able to recall lots of information from their brain, we might describe them as clever, a clever person. He is very clever. What a clever guy. Professor Stephen Hawking was very clever. He was a clever guy. And also Richard Dawkins. That's who I was thinking of. So Professor Richard Dawkins is a clever guy. So if you are clever, it means you have a lot of knowledge. You are well educated. Another one. Ooh. Intellectual. That almost doesn't fit on the paper. It almost doesn't fit on the paper. Intellectual, a person who is knowledgeable about maybe one subject or a lot of subjects, so they can talk about subjects for a very long time. They are intellectual, a person who has studied many subjects and knows a lot of things about those subjects. Intellectual, a person who has done well in their studies, might be described as intellectual. If you are clever, we could also say that you are sharp, a sharp person. So if you are sharp, it means you are quite good at thinking. You are able to think quickly. So sharp. So we sometimes describe a person who is intelligent or knowledgeable. They are sharp. They have a very quick brain. Another word, bright. A bright person. So if you say that someone is bright, it can mean cheerful, happy, or clever. So my nephew at school, all of the teachers are saying that my nephew is very bright for his age. So maybe if a child is learning quickly and they seem to have a lot of knowledge, you might describe them as bright. This is something that they never described me as at school. I was never described as bright. They would often say, Mr. Duncan needs to concentrate more instead of looking out the window at the birds. Smart. If you wear nice clothes, if you always look clean and tidy, we can say that you look smart. Also, if a person is clever, we can say that they are smart. A very smart person. Smart. A smart individual. He looks well dressed and clever. So he is double smart. If your brain is able to work at a very fast pace, we can say that you are quick. A person who is quick is very good at thinking fast. So maybe they can come up with some information from their brain very quickly. They are quick. So we describe the person as being very quick. So if you have a quick brain, or maybe you are able to talk about something, maybe a subject that you have to talk about without thinking about it too much, you are quick. Ooh, I like this word. Here's another one. Erudite. Ooh, I like this one. Some people think that this is a type of glue. It isn't. That is another word entirely. Erudite, a person who is educated, sophisticated. They are a person who has a lot of intellect. They are a person who is highly educated. We describe them as erudite. Erudite. It's a great word, that. And maybe, perhaps, a word that you've never seen before. Ooh. If you go to school and you learn subjects, we often say that you are educated because you have been to school. So we often assume that you are educated. Of course, quite often also we will use educated to mean a person who has a lot of knowledge about certain things. Maybe they did very well at school. We can describe them as educated. That guy is very educated. He is an educated guy. So if you are educated, it means you are clever, intelligent, well-read. If you are well-read, it means you have studied well, you've read many books, you have a lot of knowledge. The things you have attained, the things you have gathered during your life. Maybe you have read lots of exercise books, or maybe encyclopedias, or perhaps you spent a whole week reciting the whole dictionary, which is virtually impossible, to be honest. You are well-read, a person who understands the world around them from reading and gathering knowledge as they go along. Hello, Mr. Duncan. Noemi says, don't worry, Mr. Duncan. A lot of clever people aren't good at school. You've become the best teacher. Thank you very much. I was terrible at school. Really. I had all of the problems that you could imagine a teenager having. So I was shy. I was insecure. I was always anxious about things. I was introvert, shy. So, yes, not easy. It's not easy being young. I must be honest with you. If you ever said, Mr. Duncan, you can go back to your teenage years again, I would definitely say no. Honestly. I definitely don't want to go through that again. Definitely not. Salad says teachers agree that they are saying there is no God created this universe. Well, I suppose it depends who you listen to. I suppose, Salad, it depends who you listen to. Mr. Duncan, you mentioned Richard Dawkins and Professor Stephen Hawking. Those two scientists are famous atheists. Now I respect you more for what you are doing, Mr. Duncan. Thank you very much. That's very kind of you. Well, I like reading all sorts of things, even religious text. So I have read religious text. I've also read scientific text. And I listen a lot to what people say, whatever their opinion is. So I always try to come to my own conclusion, but quite often I like to gather the information first. I really do. Hanain is going. Oh, see you later, Hanain. I also will be going soon. Another word to describe a person who might be intellectual or clever. A person who is bookish. Bookish. If you are bookish, erudite doesn't mean that you are intelligent. Well, I didn't say it did. Knowledgeable doesn't necessarily mean being intelligent. Sophisticated with your knowledge. Christina, thank you very much. Hanan is going. Zibar is also going in a moment, I think, because I'm going soon. A bookish person is a person who reads a lot. Quite often we will describe a person with glasses as being bookish because you will assume that they read all the time because they wear glasses. So a bookish person is a person who appears intellectual. Studious is another word that we can use. A very studious person is a person who studies a lot, or maybe they always have their head in a book. Maybe they are always reading. So they are very studious. They are always studying. A person who knows things is experienced. And this is an interesting word, actually, because if you are experienced, then that particular word can relate to anything that you know or have learned in your life. So when we are experienced, it means we have experience. So the experience is the thing you have, the knowledge or the experience that you have actually come across in your life. Quite often, experience is a practical thing. So we talk about practical things as being experience. So the experiences of your life often shape your future. So I always say that there is no such thing as a bad experience. I think all experience is good experience. As long as it's not harmful, of course. If it's harmful, then it's not good experience. But maybe if you do a job that you hate, maybe the job is very basic. Maybe the salary isn't very good. However, you will still gain experience. So as far as I'm concerned, when you talk about your career or your job, there is no such thing as bad experience. And can I just tell you, in my life, I have done some awful, horrible, dirty, stinky jobs. But they've all given me experience. They've all given me a good sense of experience. There is no use being intelligent when you are always busy in selfish needs. Thank you, Netra. I think that's a very good thing actually to say. Yes. Sometimes you can fill your brain with all sorts of things, but it is useless and pointless if you do nothing with it. Belarusia says, I used to be a bookish person, but sadly I am not anymore. Yes, a lot of people, and this is something I was reading the other day. There was a very interesting article about people who pretend to read books. So apparently this is something that is very common. Apparently people they buy books. So they will buy the book, maybe the latest book, maybe the book that is in fashion. Maybe Oprah Winfrey has said, oh, you must read this book. So a lot of people will rush out and buy the book, but they won't actually read it. Or they might go on the internet and just read a synopsis of the actual story or what the book is about. So you will be surprised how many people who say they read actually don't. So they will buy the book. Another thing that a lot of people do, especially in London in the morning when they are going to work, they will sit on the train and they will pretend to read a book so they don't have to talk to any other people. So in fact, having a book in front of you is a way of avoiding social contact. So you try to avoid social contact with other people, especially on a bus or a train, by pretending to read. So apparently this is something that happens a lot. Many people buy books, but they rarely read them. Oh, so I'm going in a moment because we are approaching, we are late. My goodness. So it's coming up to 9 minutes past 3 o'clock. To be aware of the things around you. If you are aware, it means you know of them, or you know that that thing is happening. You are aware. And then, of course, there is self-aware. If you are self-aware, then you know your limitations. You know exactly what you are doing. You understand your actions. You are self-aware. You have awareness. So awareness is the state of being aware, maybe about the world around you or about yourself. Are you a thinker? Are you a person who thinks about things? I think I am. Sometimes I think too much about things. I think so. So a thinker is a person who likes to consider all sorts of subjects. You might describe them as a philosopher, a person who thinks about all the things around them. Never be afraid to think. Never be afraid to think. A person who is worldly is a person who has travelled, has experienced many different things. They have seen many different cultures. Maybe they have been around the world. They are worldly, a person who understands the way people behave or the way different people behave in different parts of the world. Hello to Nasir again. Hello to Nasir. Welcome back. Belarusia says, yes, I read the synopsis of some books on the internet. Yes, this is true. But the worst part is that a lot of people pretend that they've actually read the book. So they buy the book and then they tell their friends, oh yes, I read that book. It was very interesting. It was about a young girl and her struggle to survive during the Second World War and how her family were affected. Yes, it was a very good book. But in fact, they didn't read it at all. All they did is go on the internet and look at the synopsis. Synopsis. So when we talk about synopsis, it is a condensed version of the events that happened. So it does happen quite a lot. People who pretend that they read books when in fact they don't. Hello to Zebra again. Hello, Ovgun. Hello, Ovgun. Mr. Duncan, I appreciate you, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart. Thank you very much. That's really kind of you. There are some negative words that can describe a person who is clever. Can you guess what they are? There are some negative words that we use. For example, geek. When we talk about a person being a geek, we are saying that they are intelligent, knowledgeable, they are always studying, they might even be a little bit boring or dull. All they talk about is the subject they are interested in, or perhaps they know a lot about one particular subject, or maybe they study all the time. So this is not a nice word to call someone, even though quite often nowadays you will hear it used. And the other one is nerd. If a person is a nerd, it means, once more, they are a person who always reads, always studies. They might not be very interesting to know. They might be dull. They might also be weak and feeble physically. Although that's not always true. That's not always true. So we have nerd and geek. I don't think those are nice words, to be honest. Thank you to Netra. In this fast-paced world, it is difficult to read the complete book anymore. I think so. I'm always impressed by people who have time to sit down and read, or they sit down to do something that takes a long time to actually accomplish. So I'm very interested in people who spend many, many years trying to do one thing. I suppose in that respect I'm talking about people who play instruments, maybe a musician, a person who can play the violin or the piano. So yes, I'm often impressed by people who are able to do those things. They normally put a lot of time and a lot of effort into learning those things. Thank you very much. Zeba says, I am in London and I'm looking for many colleges to study dentistry. Oh, I see. So you want to be a dentist. You want to pull people's teeth out. Thank you, Anna. I read a lot in English as well as my native language, so I am a bookish person. Well, I think reading in English is a great way of improving your English, your understanding of English, from a grammar point of view and also from just understanding the way that words are used in everyday life. I think so. Thank you very much for your company. I am going now because it's now 3:15. I can't believe it. I've been here for so long. 1 hour and 15 minutes. I am going, but don't worry, I'm back tomorrow. Tomorrow, 2 p.m. UK time. I will be back here again. Yes, it will be day 22 tomorrow of 31 days of learning English. Incredible. Thanks for your company. I will see you tomorrow. I hope you've enjoyed this. It has been different. I hope it's been interesting and useful. And of course, until tomorrow, 2 p.m. UK time, this is Mr. Duncan saying thanks for watching. Thank you very much for your lovely company today. And of course, you know what's coming next. Ta-ta for now.